Your body knows how to be healthy. I'm your host, Martha Blessing, and this is the Place to Be Free podcast, a show that is passionately devoted to illuminating the potential within you. We're shaking up and breaking up old paradigms so you can free up your mind and body to create profound well-being and a ridiculously happy and successful life. Hi, and welcome to this episode of the Place to Be Free podcast. Today, I am sharing with you and talking about a healing case study. And the healing case studies are examples of real life applying these universal laws and energetic principles that I talk about and teach about on the podcast. They are the real life, real world application of them. Sometimes we hear something and it sounds like it makes sense, but then it's like, well, how do I apply that to my life and my circumstances and my situation? Well, here is one of those examples today. And it just so happens it is my case story, and it's a recent case story. And what I want to do is just move you through the characteristics of the situation and the healing. If you listened to the previous podcast, to episode number 7, I talked about the 3 stages of healing that everyone must go through and move through to become someone who is skilled and successful at their own self-healing. And they're true for every type of dis-ease or symptom. It doesn't matter whether it's a digestive disorder or fibromyalgia or back pain or cancer, or as in this case, an abscessed tooth and gum. I'm going to share the story with you and what it's like to move in and out of these stages, really stages of, there's 3: awakening, alignment, and embodiment. So this is a case of being in the 2 stages of the awakening and the alignment and the embodiment. So what's the case study? So I woke up on a Friday morning with a really puffy gum in my mouth, around my tooth and my jawline. And it was quite significant. You know, my first thought was, oh my gosh, it's Friday. You know, can I get in to see the dentist? What's like, that's the alignment phase of thinking. And I have this situation. I need to take care of it. What's going to happen? And the mind starts to go sometimes and often to the worst case scenario, right? So that's what I do. My mind starts going to, it's Friday, it's the weekend, you know, am I going to be able to get in to see the dentist? And kind of fear, and not really fear, but just the logistics of it all, right? And then I stepped into the embodiment stage and I said, we're not going there. We're not even going to think about anything other than what we desire. And I just kept saying to myself, it's already healed. My body knows how to be healthy. My body knows how to be healthy. Now, it doesn't mean that I didn't take actions to do things to help it along. And it doesn't mean that I didn't have gratitude for the situation. Because here's what gratitude looks like. If I focus on what the body really knows how to do and the wisdom that it has, an abscess gum, a puffy gum, is the body's natural mechanism to try to create healing in that area. There is something that is maybe an infection, or maybe something got into that gum, into that tooth area, and it's not healing, or it's not like the body's natural mechanism is to create fluids to flush things out, right? It's there to let me know that there's something wrong and that it's trying to create balance and create a state of homeostasis. So, the symptom isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's very much, when we have pain and when we have symptoms, they're a gift. It's there. Be grateful. It's like if you put your hand on a hot stove and you feel that it's hot and there's a burn, that's a natural mechanism to say, hey, take your hand off the burner, take your hand off the stove, right? And yes, there's pain, the skin's been burned, but all the fluid, all of the things that happen to a burn is the body's natural mechanism to actually heal it and restore the balance to the cells. In the case of the tooth, I started to think about what can I do right here, right now, to help this situation. The old me would have, when I was in the alignment phase, before I understood the principles of cause and effect and polarity of the universal laws, I would have pulled out my Louise Hay book. I would have looked up teeth. I would have looked up infection. I would have started to use my mind to try to figure it out. If you've listened to some of the other videos that I have shared on my YouTube channel, one of them is about healing happens in the heart. We cannot use our mind to facilitate the healing. And this is part of the problem. We focus on our mind and our energy and our thoughts on the disease and the problem, and we go into a place of fear and worry. And so in that alignment phase, we want to bring our body, our mind, our heart, our spirit, and our soul all to the same energy and the same frequency, right? So if I'm going to this place where I'm picking up the books and I'm looking at what's wrong, I need to figure this out. Let's see, how did I create this? Where did I create this? Let me look up about teeth. Let me do affirmations. Like, that's the long, slow, painful way, because we're focusing on a frequency of illness. And this is a very fine, very subtle distinction. Okay, so I didn't do that. I didn't pull out any books. I didn't try to focus on how, what's wrong here, what's the metaphysical cause, because that can take forever. What I focused on was my body knows how to be healthy. The healing is already here, literally over and over and over and over again. And the actions that I did take were, I got out my essential oils and I used my doTERRA On Guard oil. And I'm kind of hardcore. I don't dilute them. They say that you should, but for something like this, I did not. And that's just me. I'm not saying you should do that. I'm just telling you what I did. It's a case study. So I took that On Guard oil, and first I obviously I brushed my teeth. And there was blood, like it was a real deal. It was a real thing. There was an abscess. And then I started to put the On Guard oil on it every hour. And I just dabbed my finger and I put it on my gums. And I also made a bit of a mouthwash with it. I do have On Guard mouthwash, but I also made a mouthwash. So I gargled with it. I put some on my toothbrush and kind of used it to get in between. I used the water pick to help flush things out. And I could tell each day that the inflammation was going down and it was getting smaller and smaller. And I just kept affirming, this is done. This is healed. It's done. It's already here. The solution is already here. And I have gratitude. I'm grateful. Thank you for my healing. Thank you for my body, for whatever this was and its mechanism for flushing it out. And not once did I allow my mind or my thoughts or my thinking to go back to, what if this doesn't heal? What am I going to do? What if this doesn't go the way that I planned? There was a real world chance that it might not. but I never put my attention and my thoughts on that. If it came to a point where I had a fever and or I had a pain, really bad pain. I mean, it was sensitive, but I wasn't in extreme pain. Then I would have had to do something different. I would have had to create another plan, but at no time did I allow my thoughts to go back to any kind of a backup plan. And I continued to put out to God and intelligent substance, thank you for the wisdom of my body. Thank you that my body knows how to heal. It's already here. Whatever this was, it's gone, it's done. And I know that may seem ridiculous, but it works. I've done this numerous times with teeth. I have an old blog post about this because honestly, 10 years ago, a dentist told me that I had to have a root canal, actually in the same area, close to being the same tooth, that I needed a root canal. And to this day, 10, 12 years later, I've never had that root canal and I healed that abscess on my own. But what I'm not going to do is go into trying to figure it out and then stay in this. Law of polarity says that at the same time that I'm experiencing a symptom and an illness, the opposite of it is in existence at the exact same time. And so that's where I put my attention. But if I go into, how did I create this and what does it mean and how did I do it? Then I'm focusing on the illness. I'm not focusing on the fact that I'm already healed. And that is the subtle difference in moving from this alignment to the embodiment and getting your mind, your body, your heart, and your spirit all into the frequency of God doesn't make any mistakes and my body knows how to be healthy. And it absolutely involves faith and trust. Faith and trust. So I wanted to share that with you so that you can have an understanding of the real world application of these universal laws and how you use them for healing. It does not mean, people don't like it. I have had a client last week and she's moving through, she's been doing the 5 steps to freedom. She's been moving through some challenges. And she said, I can't just sit there and say that it isn't real when I'm having this burning and pain. And I said, listen, I understand. I've been in severe chronic pain. I will tell you about that case story in another podcast. I've been in it. But what you focus on and put your attention on is what you are going to come into alignment with. And so faith is believing in the truth of your body and its ability to heal itself, even in the face of being in and experiencing something different than that. When people went to Jesus for healing, the people who healed are the ones that had complete faith, even in the midst of the opposite of what they wanted, even in the midst of pain and illness. It is the faith in the divine intelligence within you that creates the healing. Jesus didn't do the healing. He was the light. In his frequency of light, the people were able to receive it because they had complete faith. If they didn't have faith, they didn't receive the healing. So in this instance, I had to apply my complete faith in order for the healing to occur. And if I backtracked or doubted in any way and went into my mind trying to figure it out, then I do not have complete faith that it is already done. I'm not trusting God and I'm not having faith that it's done. And I'm trying to use my mind and my brain, which, forget it. It's always getting in the way, our subconscious. Do you see the difference? We're so often trying to rationalize between our conscious and subconscious mind about everything. And that's not faith. And that is not being in the frequency and alignment that my body knows how to do this and it's already done. It's saying that you doubt God and you're going to try to figure it out on your own. you're going to try and use your mind muscle to figure it out. And that's where you stay stuck in, but how, and going in circles and arriving back in the same place every time. If you have questions about this, please reach out to me. It's possible for you. It's possible for everyone to live in health and well-being. Healing does not have to be complicated. We make it very complicated. Thanks for listening to the Place to Be Free podcast, and I will see you in the next episode. Thanks for listening to the Place to Be Free podcast. And if you liked what you heard and you want to know more, go to marthablessing.com/free stuff.